What's up, y'all? I'm here with Nick Burton, my Director of Acquisitions. Last week, we released the first 5 business practices that end up punching you in the gut over and over and over again by pursuing those. They sound like good ideas, but end up being horrible business practices after you see them through. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish the top 10 list right now. You ready? Let's do this.
Let's do it.
All right, number 7 common business practice that is a horrible business practice: hiring contractors who give you the cheapest bid. Mm-hmm. Give me your feedback on why would that be a bad business practice?
Everybody wants to bid. Everybody wants to bid the cheapest, the fastest, the best. And if they're claiming to have all 3, they're going to take you for.
I mean, that's what Carlin says. He
Yeah.
says you can have quality,
Yeah.
you can have time, or you can have price. You can have 2, but you can't take all 3.
Sure.
So which one would you leave out?
I would leave out price.
Why?
I'd rather have quality, and I'd rather pay for that quality rather than I get shitty quality, it's real quick, I'm going to have to redo it again. Or
Paying double anyways, yeah.
You're going to be paying a ton anyway, so the quicker I can get it done is great, but if I have to redo everything, it doesn't make any sense anymore.
That, and then from a timeline perspective, it's like, well, even if it takes a little bit longer, this person's way cheaper. Mm-hmm. When you look at and this is where I see a lot of operators missing the mark, is they're not looking at the opportunity cost of getting it done sooner. Mm-hmm. The opportunity cost is, hey, we went with this bid because it was $10,000 less, okay? But it's going to take an extra 2 months in order to turn an extra 5 units mm-hmm. that are each rented at $1,200 a piece,
yep.
right? $1,200 on 5 units is $6,000 a month, times 2 months is $12,000. You save $10,000, but it costs you $12,000 in missed rents.
Yep.
Not only that, but there's a peace of mind that's kind of intangible or hard to quantify, I would say, of having it done sooner, and there's less risk and a peace of mind in having it done sooner and having it stabilized faster than having to wait that extra couple of months. What if the market shifts? What if interest rates start going up? There's risks associated with that. Mm-hmm. Versus having it done sooner, then you can have the option to wait, but being forced to wait, right, and it takes an extra couple of months, looking at the opportunity cost is a missed mark that I see consistently over and over and over again of people trying to go with the cheapest bid as opposed to the best timeline.
Yeah, and usually what happens is their cheapest bid and their quickest timeline takes, let's just say it takes 3 months to get to 80%. A lot of times with some of these contractors, that last 20% also takes another 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. And
that's just what you get, what you pay for, kind of thing.
Yeah. And usually the ones that bid the lowest have changeover after changeover, like work order change, right? Mm-hmm. That ends up bumping up the price. You're at the same mark, same price point with lesser quality or slower timeline
yep.
than initially. So
yep.
I would go with somebody who also has the business back end, mm-hmm. right? Just because they're the best at swinging a hammer or they do a good job at that. How many contractors have we worked with where they were good at that, and then we give a bunch of work to them, and then they implode because they have zero business sense.
Yeah.
Because they have no idea how to scale, they have no idea how to hire, they have no idea how to manage a team or build up an organization. They don't have the bookkeeper to handle invoicing and payments and or the money management experience, and I always see those people imploding. So do not hire contractors based on price alone. Take a look at their quality, their business acumen, and the timeline that they can get those things done in. Okay. All right, number 8, business practice. Working with a property manager that is kind of growing with you. Sounds noble. Sounds like you can grow together. It's a hard road with property management. It's not an easy business to be in. And what I've found is, as I work with these property management companies and I expect them to get better and I expect them to adhere to our processes, I expect them to continuously improve, many of them don't.
Sure.
And I would say that in our organization, one of the biggest mistakes we've made, it's like the high school girl who's dating the guy who's a jerk, right? It's like, I think I can change him. I think I'm different. Like we all know that that idea from high school, and the guy's a jerk. You don't change, right?
Yeah.
A shitty management company is a shitty property management company, and they don't change.
Yeah.
And thinking that if you give them another month or give them another quarter, or you let them swap out the on-site manager, let them swap out the regional and bring somebody else in, and giving them that extra runway, what I have found is never, ever, ever a good idea. If you see a problem with your property manager, and you tell them to fix it, and you have to have more than one conversation with them, that's one more than you should have to have, and they need to be fired immediately. Mm-hmm. The hiccup with that is, like, there's some temporary pain.
Sure.
All right? Like, there's a process of firing them and bringing in somebody new. And when you fire them and bring in somebody new, it's a headache.
You could have 10 problems now. You could have 10 times problems now.
Well, it's at least over the short term, right? Because now you got personnel changes.
Yeah, they're not familiar with the property. They're not familiar with how we do things. Maybe we had some training with the previous company and went down that road. But yeah, I mean, it's a pain in the ass. But the long term, what's the word I'm looking for? Success is more important than the short term.
Yeah, I agree, because it's like, yeah, I got to deal with this, got to change over to a new management system or this or that. But like at the end of the day, getting rid of somebody who's not getting the job done, and like there's a management company that we've been working with for 24 months and continuously dragging them, dude. And the regionals missing in action, right? They're completely out of the loop, and we're dragging them along, having the same conversation over and over and over again. And if you have that conversation multiple times and nothing changes, and there's no additional movement, dude, you gotta axe them. Yeah. And they need to know that they are very replaceable, you know? And the sooner you cut the head off the snake and get rid of it, yes, there's going to be some temporary pains, but the long-term gains will be dramatically improved. And the short-term pain, add it all up, versus the long-term little bit of pain over a longer, this weighs pounds versus the short-term pain is ounces.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got to go to this one. Number 9. Number 9 was the impetus of why this content came to be, this list of 10, all right? Number 9 was the one that I was thinking of. I was like, dude, this is a standard business practice that everybody does. We've done it multiple times. Sounds like it'd be a good idea initially, and it ends up being a horrible, horrible, horrible move to make. And that is, you're in the process of making improvements to a property. It could be anything. It could be
in the middle of something major.
In the middle of something major. And then all of a sudden an offer comes in. Nick, I'm interested in 123 Main Street. I want to buy it as is. And they make an offer as is to buy it. And you say, oh, you know what? I can save $500,000. I cannot stir the pot on a temporary pain of moving management companies for the next 60, 90 days. If I just take this offer, muscle through it for another 90 days, hold off on the renovations for 90 days, just kind of wait for a little bit, and then get this property sold. Mm-hmm. Why is that a bad idea?
We are the seller. Sorry, that buyer could very, very easily walk, and now you're 6 months behind, 3 months behind. Oh, they need another 90-day extension. Oh, now you're 9 months behind, and you just keep pushing this down. And then they go, hey, I can't raise the money. I couldn't get a loan. I'm not in real estate anymore. There's so many things that can go wrong.
It's very unlikely for a deal to transact.
Sure.
In the grand scheme of things. Many, many, many times more deals fall apart
Sure.
than actually happen. So this is a deal that the buyer contracted in May, June of last year, and it's still telling us that they're going to transact on it, right? And the operating partner in that deal, as we know, didn't want to move management companies, should have moved management companies, and was working on turning units, right? Because some occupancy fell off and this and that, and was trying to save money by not investing money into that deal. And dude, the buyer dragged us out for 6 months on it and then couldn't perform. That is 6 months of not collecting rents. That is 6 months of the lender, when are you going to get those units online? When are you going to get those units online? That is 6 months of equity investors saying, well, how come we aren't getting distributions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and it's like, it's 6 months of lag in this. Whereas, dude, if we just would have done something simple like saying, hey, if I contract with you, first of all, we will not stop work anymore, right? Like that's something that we know. We're moving it forward until we sell the deal, and we're going to keep on operating it as if we own it, because you know what? We do. We still own it until it sells. And so we're not going to stop operating it, and we're going to continue operating as if it's not up for sale at all. And dude, the reason people do it is because they think, if we could sell it, if it did transact and we saved $500,000, bro, we'd be heroes. Mm-hmm. Our investors would be like, we got better return than we thought we would get. And we would look like champions. But the reality is the odds are so little that happens. You can simply remove that risk, still go to contract. If they close, great. And if they don't, at least there's some sort of clause in the PSA, the purchase and sale agreement, that says, hey, I'll show you receipts for all the capital improvements that I make over the next 3 months, 4 months while you try to get this deal closed. And for every dollar that I put in, you got to pay me $1.10 back, or $1 for dollar, or $1.20. You can negotiate whatever you want, because they're getting a higher value than that when they come and acquire the property and actually execute on the purchase and sale agreement. So if you get an offer to buy it as is, and the buyer wants some sort of a discount because they're going to buy it as is, and they want to put the value add in, the answer is no. I'm going to keep on operating it the way that, as if I own it, and keep on moving it forward, because I've seen it happen over and over again where the buyer falls out. Is that understandable to you, Miss Buyer? Yeah, I guess that is understandable. So let's come up with an agreement, very simply, that says, for every dollar that I improve, for every unit that I turn, we will be reimbursed by you, right, at closing, the buyer, the purchase price increases by X number of dollars.
Yeah.
And that's an easy way to go about making sure you get reimbursed. You can continue operating the property the way that you should be operating it, and at the same time not risk it for the buyer. They're probably getting, $1.30 of additional value for every dollar that you put in. So to say that, hey, I want $1.10 for every dollar that I put in, they're still getting the better end of the deal there, but it reduces our downside and our risk and our liability.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I don't really got nothing else to say on that. I like that a lot.
I'm glad you love it, Nick.
Yeah.
Last one, final one, number 10. Seems like a good idea in practice, is like saying yes to every deal, or saying, like making decisions based on what's going on with the market today and moving forward. But the reality is, not making decisions based on a long-term mindset, I feel, is a huge mess up on most investors' parts, right? They make decisions based on today, based on current circumstances, and not outside of this box, right, that we're experiencing right now. And I think making short-term decisions based on current situations is a bad business practice versus making a long-term decision of, is this something that I see myself doing 5, 10, 15, 25 years down the road? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that might be the theme for basically everything else on the list too. All these other issues, you've pretty much said it's that you don't want to handle something in the moment because it's just going to be a pain in the ass. But come 6 months, 5 years, 30 years down the road, it was the best decision to make. People, I think it's just short-term mindsets, short-term goals are taking away from all the long-term benefits.
I think that's a great bring it all together, right? People are making decisions based on short, easy, quick, fast, like things that they think are going to give them a leg up
Yeah.
in the short term, which the shortcuts never get you there, man.
Yeah.
It's like you got to put in the investment. You got to have the long-term mindset. You got to, go through the list. Like, develop the relationships with the brokers and the sellers and cultivate those relationships over time, and you're going to get the better deals versus some daisy chain deal, that's brought, right? Underwriting it the right way, so that way you can project out true financials for the next 5 or 10 years versus just trying to make them look good so that way you can go and raise the money today.
Yep.
Communicating with those investors on these deals and making sure that you're raising capital the right way and building a long-term relationship, doing the right thing by the investors as opposed to just trying to get the deal, this deal closed, this deal raised. And go down, firing the management company, hiring the right contractors, renovating the property the right way. Like, go through the previous 9 that we just went through. I think you're exactly right, man. And I think consistently over time, if you're making decisions based on a longer horizon, a longer timeline, do you think Elon Musk gives a shit about what the stock price is today?
Yeah.
No, he's trying to colonize Mars over the next 500 years, beyond his lifetime, right? And what I've found is that the 100 millionaires and the billionaires think on very, very long timelines. They're thinking 100 years and out. They're thinking legacy, as opposed to how do I navigate the current circumstance, the current situation, and this deal right here, this year, this month. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about, what does this set me up for the next 10 years, 50 years, 100 years? And I think focusing on decision making on the long term as opposed to the short term solves all these problems and puts good business practices in place. Hey, so I hope you took some notes during this, and I hope you don't make the same mistakes that we have made during our time in business. These are things that we know intimately well, and we have intimate familiarity with because we've done these things. We've made these mistakes, and I want you to learn from our mess ups so that way you don't make those same mistakes and you can have faster growth, faster success than what we've been able to do. So if you know of some of these things, some business practices that you've pursued and that ended up being horrible plays for you, I'd love to hear about it in the comment section below. So give me some of yours. Give me your favorite one out of these top 10 as well. I'd love to know some things that you've ran into and experienced in your tenure in business. And if you would, please like the channel, or subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share this with anybody else who's on the come up in business, who's working through these things, going through the growth that all of us do. And please share this with them so that way they're not making the same mistakes that we made and they have a faster track to success. Till next time, be your best.